So, hi everybody. Welcome back to another Rainbows and Rage. It's me, Rainbows.
And I'm Rage.
The latest things that are happening are the travel ban and Huckabee Sanders' latest conference where Brian Karem went off on her.
That was so entertaining to watch. It really was.
I felt that was a man that had his limit. That was that. He still kept it respectful.
You need to keep it together, and I think that's something that the entire Trump administration could learn from.
Very much so. There's one part of her conference where she was kind of going off on for a few minutes saying how, the fake media and how, of course Trump is upset with that because they mentioned that he went on another little Twitter tirade kind of deal. And she was saying, well, of course he's upset because this Russia hoax, I'm putting in air quotations, thing is, day in, day out, and no one's talking about like the VA victory and this and that and like other various things. The first thing that came to mind, and I do not like to compare and contrast like this administration with the last administration, but when Obama was bombarded day in and day out with the hoax that he was not an American, he still didn't go on any Twitter tantrums. That is more maddening to me.
And you're right, Obama kept it together, but Trump was the one who started this.
He cannot take what he gives, even though he literally gave fake news day in and day out to the last administration, cannot take things that actually have a backing to them and actually have proof to them.
It makes sense. Do you know why it makes sense?
Why?
Because Trump is a lunatic. And if you understand that he just doesn't make sense, he's a narcissist, he's hypocritical, it makes sense. The country is being run by a dictator who doesn't realize he's a dictator, or he wants to be a dictator in a country where that just won't fly. So he wants everybody to play in his sandbox, in his rule, like using his rules the way he wants. He can, change the rules at a drop of a hat. It's okay for him to create fake news, but it's not okay for other people to, even though it's not even fake news. He wants everybody else to buy into his reality, and he's a lunatic. So it totally makes sense.
Yeah, this reminds me of like gaslighting and abusive relationships.
Absolutely. And I actually feel really bad for Sean Spicer because wasn't he taken off the air because he gained some weight, like he was stress eating?
I don't believe that. I think that's an excuse. The man was going out of his mind. He probably had to be like committed somewhere, and that's why he's off the air. I almost feel bad for that man.
Yeah, so do I.
I mean, shit, if somebody caught me hiding in the bushes and shit, that's clearly, like, a sign of, I need help. He's, like, one step away from shaving his head and attacking paparazzi with an umbrella, a la Britney Spears.
And as for this new press secretary, she doesn't even answer questions. Like, have you noticed she doesn't answer questions at all? And that frustrates the media, and of course it would. It's their job to get information, and this administration doesn't want to provide any.
That's exactly what Brian Karem said. He's like, you're preventing us from doing our job. Like, that's our job, is for us to ask you questions and for you to answer them. That's literally why they were there. It's just like when they were trying to, what was it when they were trying to stop any cameras, any video cameras, anything from being in there. And I thought this was kind of hilarious when some news agencies sent in sketch artists, like the courtroom sketch artists to kind of sketch out what was going on. I'm like, we are so going backwards. This is turning so insane. This reminds me of like George Orwell and like Big Brother and like trying to control what goes out there. This is very North Korea right now.
Well, I mean, you've heard about The Handmaid's Tale being remade, right? So Margaret Atwood is a Canadian author. She's one of my favorites. She published this book about 30 years ago. It was in 1985. And after Trump started running and got elected, her one book just completely blew up, and Hulu created a new show about the book. And I just finished watching it last night. It was so good. But It's where women's rights are taken away. A group of elite men run the country. Women can't have property or bank accounts, and it's so relevant to what is, like, how the society, I guess, is shifting to what it's becoming. It's scary. He's probably not going to get rid of her as press secretary because she's very stubborn, and I don't really see her going anywhere.
On to the next topic.
Oh man, this one makes me so mad. Oh my god, this one makes me so mad. Okay. A bunch of lower courts had deemed it to be a human rights violation to ban Muslims. And let's be honest here, that's what it is. It's a Muslim ban. So the Supreme Court went ahead and decided that they're going to let most of the travel ban through unless you have ties to the U.S. So if you have family or if you have a job in the U.S., then you're more likely to be allowed in. However, I would like to just turn the tables for a moment. Let's say, for example, it was a bunch of white people who were Christian or said they were Christian, going around bombing buildings, bombing mosques and synagogues and Hindu temples and gurdwaras. And let's just say it was Christians for a minute that were the terrorists. People would be up in arms because it is blatant racism. And here's the thing, you're putting a blanket over everybody, which is completely unfair. And I'm so disappointed with the Supreme Court. I don't even know what to say. I'm just so angry.
Well, they're still waiting to hear, to have the hearings in October. I can only hope by October they can strike it down completely. It's completely ridiculous. It's been narrowed down in the media and, as people are talking from all Muslims to then it was the 7 countries to then 6 countries. And now it's like, you need a connection to get in, like you said. It's not a real legal victory as of yet.
People are being turned away. Muslims are being turned away from Canada. Like, if it was Caucasian people, let's be honest, people would be up in arms. If, the president of the United States were, let's say, a Hindu, and all of these so-called terrorists were, air quotes, Christian, and there was a Christian ban, people would be freaking the fuck out.
Not sure how well trained our borders are. The border control people are. They're not being trained because they're just wielding the hammer upon whatever they feel. It's just not going to go well.
There's actually a really good video about that. I will send it to you and then we can put it in the description. Let us know what you think.
Are you for the ban? Are you against the ban? Are you just waiting to see what happens in October? Does this not affect you and you just don't give a shit? Let us know in the comments below, or you can tweet us and we'll leave that in the description box as well.
Bye guys.
See ya.